Dear students, I am Mr. Manikant Singh. I have been teaching history since the last 25 years. I have just come to share something with you. We have started some specific program for the promoting the subject history. Actually, for the first time, we are going to launch online program. Here I have to share something with you. What are the reasons I have moved to online after a long time? One thing you may come to know, you cannot stop some idea whose time has come or matured. So now this is the period of information technology, society is the knowledge society. You cannot put any check over the knowledge. There should be a free flow of knowledge, and that should be available to everybody, every student. This is the, you can say, part of democracy. So in one sense, we have decided to even democratize India a bit more. In fact, the demand from a student side has been coming from since 2 to 3 years, persistent demand. So finally we have decided. Apart from that, one thing I have to share with you is the day when I started to teach history. So at that time, the method for teaching history, or you can say the approach to the study of history, was quite different. I think among humanities subject, it is a mistreated subject, because this subject is having the greater relevance. Subject is marks fetching, subject is the hardcore humanities subject, but possibly this is the most mistreated subject in universities as well as in civil services exam preparation, both. This is the normal perception among the students and even, you can say, certain scholars. History means too many informations, too many bundles, a bundle of informations. But definitely this subject is more sinned against than sinning. This is a hardcore humanities subject, and it is as dynamic as other social science. So far as the question of informations or the facts are concerned, these are not the part of the history. These are simply the evidences to prove your point of view. In the next one lecture, I will make you clear in what way you can make a distinction between the concept and the fact in history, and what normally the student treat as the facts, the concept, that is simply facts. And facts are the essential part of concept in that sense. These are the examples of concept. Then you may be a bit curious, then what is history? Simply history means to underline the forces of change in political field, economic field, social field and cultural field. So whenever I discovered this thing as a teacher, so I was much excited, and my objective was to make this knowledge available and to make this method available to more and more people, more and more students in India from different parts. But possibly, you can say, due to a bit slowness or some sort of hesitation, I avoided to launch any online program. But now we have decided to go for online program and to make this hard-earned and you can say this acquired knowledge to available to the guys from different quarters of India. One important thing I have to share with you, in fact, earlier we have been giving the guideline only for the optional paper in UPSC. But now we have decided to make the guideline available even to the university students in UGC. Why we have decided so? In fact, the UGC examination is the standard exam of India. The university education required the standard knowledge there. But the coaching institute is, and you can say such coaching is not available normally in India. And if we are working for history, it is not fair to simply concentrate over the competitive exam but not on the UGC. That is, after all, you can say it is the spring of the subject. How can you avoid the UGC in this regard? So that's why finally you have decided to go for UGC as well. But apart from all the informations I have given to you, I am really excited to give some information to you now. We and our institute, our colleagues, our assistants, all have decided to launch a website exclusively dedicated to history. Normally you will find in other subjects there is a common idea that in fact this subject is verging on current side. About history, the most of the students are, and you can say most of the teachers and scholars as well, are having the idea that this is possibly a static subject once you are going through the book. You can imagine that normally the books are recommended to the students in history. So the books have been compiled 15-20 years back. And since that time, there is no modification, no revision work is done by a scholar himself. So in that case, students are still moving for the book, even you are talking about the new NCERT book. So new NCERT book was published on the basis of the NCF 2005. You can say this NCF has come in 2005 and possibly the books might have come into the market in 2007 or 2008. So even here you find a gap of nearly 10 to 12 years. So who is going to compensate this loss? And UPSC is definitely the smartest institution in India on that ground. UPSC always verging on the current issues. Even in history, UPSC is not satisfied and sometimes it is placing the question, even in ancient history, to underline the relevance of Buddhism in present day, underline the relevance of Jainism in present day. How is it possible to answer the question? And not simply that. The various types of questions from optional to GS you will find, you will realize. You can imagine one question in General Studies World History part was that how the impact of Industrial Revolution in Britain, or how the social impact of the Industrial Revolution in Britain is comparable to the same impact on Indian society today. What is the dynamic part of the question you can imagine? This is the expectation of the UPSC and the examiner from the students. Students should have the latest knowledge. So in order to compensate this loss and compensate the, you can say, deficit, we have decided to launch a website. All the website would provide different sorts of standard information, and you can say the different sorts of, you can say, the latest analysis on the subject. Apart from that, exclusively we have to bank on the, you can say, information to the students about the latest books which have been published in history and which could supplement their knowledge on the topic. Here I am giving you some example. Recently one book has been published by Gyanesh Kudeshia, and the name of the book is India in the 1950s. Actually, this is the book associated with the post-independence era, and on post-independence era you will find a series of books by Ramchand Guha, Bipin Chandra, and many others. Even you can say so many books recently, 1 and 2 books. But this book is specific in that manner that this has concentrated over the nature of Indian Constitution and tried to prove that if the partition of India could not have taken place, so then the nature of Indian Constitution could have been something else. So that is quite impressive, and you can expect a question in the exam as well from this side, whether it may be in optional paper or in GS paper. Second one book is this is Indian Nationalism, and that is by S. Irfan Habib. Although he is not that Irfan Habib, we should not get confused with the, you can say, Irfan Habib, because he is the most popular author, and he is not so popular, but he is a great scholar. And on Indian nationalism he has published this book, and this book definitely includes all the important facets of nationalism. So one student is just going to prepare on nationalism either in university or in UPSC, they could take support from this book. Likewise, now one book I have to mention, and this book belongs to Upinder Singh. She has been a very reputed author and you can say university professor, and particularly after the publication of the book, although she has published a lot of books, normally the students are not familiar even on Ashoka, but her book on ancient and early medieval India has been much famous, and she tried to find out a new trend of historiography. So even from this perspective, her text is important. The book is quite interesting, Political Violence in Ancient India. I mean, this book, Political Violence in Ancient India, she has tried to prove that it is due to the excessive impact of Gandhian movement on India. There is a common misconception that Indian culture is basically non-violent, but the truth is that Indian culture is as violent as other cultures, and taking examples from so many ancient texts like Kautilyan Arthashastra, Kamandak Nitishara, etc., she has tried to prove her point of view. So it can be useful, and such information can be useful for both types of students, those preparing for ancient history and even those students who are preparing for national movement of India. He can take the example from here and go. So in this way, that is going to, in fact, knowledge is a vast ocean, and these are the different drops, and gradually when the drops are percolating to the ocean, you will find your ocean complete full. So this is required for you. Apart from that, I will give a reference to one book, that is Christopher Jefferlo, a very reputed author on South Asia, and he has published a book, The Islamic Connection, South Asia and the Gulf. Actually, he has tried to prove that in fact Islam, of how many Islams you can say, you are talking about Islam, so Islam is not having the same manifestation in West Asia, South Asia and Central Asia. So Islam of South Asia was definitely separated from the Islam of West Asia. And later you can say the Muslims of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh remain to be different from the Muslim community in West Asia, obviously. But here the point is, this situation did not continue longer, because recently, unfortunately, even the Muslims of South Asia is just falling under the influence of West Asia, and you know the influence of West Asia is too much dangerous today, particularly after the rise of Al-Qaeda and so many terrorist groups. So this book has actually touched, and even from the national movement you will find the two different perspectives on Islam from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad and Muhammad Iqbal. So such books are definitely going to help you a lot. Here the transfer of power. I will mention this book exclusively because what is the specialty of the book? You can guess. The transfer of power in India, so on national movements, not in hundreds, thousands books have been published. But what is the specialty of the book? This book has been composed by an eyewitness, V.P. Menon, who used to be the assistant to Vallabhbhai Patel. And he is supposed to be the assistant to the architect of Indian nation. So he is mentioning out the events behind the national movement, partition of India, and even the issues of princely states. So that will definitely catch up the attention of the question setter. So my students, very soon I will provide you the standard information in history. I am prepared for that, and you have just wait for, you can say, our gesture, and you will yourself evaluate. Thank you very much.